Hi, welcome. My name is Marlene. Today, I just wanted to do this video a little selfishly and also share with you because I've been feeling kind of down in a little bit of a rut. Whenever I have these kind of feelings, I usually just go and scroll for inspiration, read, or watch something that'll inspire me. I've been going into a little deep dive into Danessa Myricks, and whenever I see her posts, they're usually on Sunday. She'll post a bunch of quotes that kind of all read together, and I found out later that that's the intention with it. So I'm going to list the interviews that I have been watching and that I have been reading down below. Whenever I see those quotes, I'll read them, and it feels like she's talking to me, of course. She's talking to all of us and anybody that needs to hear it. I'm going to use a little bit of this before I put on my sunscreen. It is hot here today. It's going to be like around high 90s where I'm at. And this is supposed to help keep the oiliness at bay. It says to tap, and I don't think you need to use a whole lot of it. But yes, that's how my whole Danessa Myricks deep dive kind of started, was with the quotes on Instagram. I'll post some examples here if you haven't seen them, but I didn't know this until after one of the videos I saw, that she does this as a way kind of to talk to herself, and they read as like conversations, or somebody's talking to you and trying to encourage you. I'm going to be using the sunscreen. There's this interview, I'm going to list below. I feel like it has not gotten the exposure it needs. It only has about maybe a little under 40 views at this current time. So go check it out if you have some time. Listen to it in the background. Like I said, it's nice to have a little inspiration when you need it, or motivation, words of encouragement. But she said in this interview that those quotes she strings along, she's talking to herself because she's always looking to self-improve and just new ways to better herself. Now, Danessa Myricks' story is very interesting and very inspirational. I'm probably going to use that word a lot. She worked marketing for a publishing company for a magazine in the hair care industry. I'm not sure if some of these are going to be my shades too, by the way. I'm just kind of plain here. I'm not too experienced with makeup, and I've always kind of just haven't delved deep as I should or as I want to. And that's another reason why I kind of resonate with Danessa's story, is because she wasn't really much of a makeup wearer. And she learned how to play with makeup a little later in life, in her 30s. So working at this publishing company, she got to see a lot of the hairstylists and makeup artists that would work on the models, and she hadn't really been exposed to seeing her represented in the beauty industry. So she would see these professionals come in with their own styles, wearing whatever they wanted, expressing themselves how they wanted to, working on their own schedules, making these models look beautiful. Like I said, she hadn't really seen herself represented in the beauty industry. In fact, she talks about how she felt very sad about her appearance. People actually told her she was ugly, and she talked about how she would cry into the pillow at night. And that broke my heart, hearing that, because I've been there too. Feeling not the prettiest, being told I have a big nose, I have a big forehead, I have big arms. Yes, I have big arms. And I've always had to hide that. And as you get older, you kind of don't let it hold yourself back so much. It's you. You're not going to change it. I mean, unless you're going to go get plastic surgery and stuff. But that's really not for me. Anyways, side tangent. So yeah, she would always see these professionals in that setting and was inspired by them. And then one day she was let know by the owner of the company that in 30 days the company would be closing down. At this time, Danessa was 30 years old and she had to figure it out. She was a single mom with 2 kids, and I think it was very bold and brave, the decision she decided to take. She decided to start learning makeup artistry on her own. She bought a Kevin Kwan book and a Sam Fiennes book and started learning on her own. She said that the most that she would do at the time was wear eyeliner, and that's it. That's what she learned from her mom. So she learned on her own, and then she reached out to anybody who was willing to give her a chance. I think she said her very first makeup client was a bride. Can you imagine the stress? She said that her friend reached out and said, hey, I have somebody that needs their makeup done, and it was a bride. So she showed up, she got her little kit together using the knowledge that she learned from those books that she read, and showed up and did the bride's makeup. She said when she got there, she realized it was probably not the best idea, and she was really hoping that she wasn't going to ruin this bride's day. But she said that when the bride's father walked in, he was like, you are so beautiful, to the bride. Everything worked out, and he paid her $300, and she was like, wow, this is almost as much as my unemployment paycheck. So, of course, the reassurance she needed, she got there. She also mentioned in another article that there were 2 photographers that she worked with during her time at the magazine, and she reached out to them and asked if she could do makeup for their photo shoots, and they agreed. And she also reached out to some magazines offering to write their beauty content. So she would write these full beauty content stories and do the makeup and all that for free, of course, just to get her name out there and get the recognition. So people would start seeing her name being in these magazines, and they would be like, wow, you're really doing it, you're making it. But of course, she wasn't getting paid for this work. She was just doing it just to get her name out there. So you really have to admire that hustle that she was putting in, knowing she still had to make money to provide for her family and still trying to learn something that she knew she would be passionate about, would be excited to go into work, working for herself, putting on all that work. That is so brave. And she talks a lot about how fear is something that we have to learn to live with, because fear is always going to be there. And if you let fear stop you from trying to accomplish the things that you want to, you're never going to get to where you want. And fear is always going to be there. And she says she still has fear. It's still a constant thing in her life. She just says it's a muscle that we have to learn how to work out. And don't let it stop you from doing something, because if you don't take that first step to do it, nothing's ever going to happen. Now, after getting her name out and proving herself through all the free work that she was doing, some of the hairstylists that she worked with were asking her, hey, can you teach me how to do makeup? Because they would save them a lot of money. So then she started holding classes to teach these hairstylists how to do makeup. And then more and more people started signing up for these makeup classes. And it got to be so much that she started doing DVDs to teach more people. Now, if that isn't reassurance that what you're doing is right, I don't know what is. People appreciating her work and asking to be taught, that's when you know you've mastered something to a level where you are teaching others. So now she had these hairstylists that she used to work with and people in the industry that she looked up to asking her to teach them. I can't imagine how reassuring and validating it must have felt for her to know that she achieved something to the level where people were now asking her to teach them. And then she started making her own formulas in her basement, I guess it was. I'm not exactly too sure where she was creating her own formulas, but the first formula that she came up with was the Color Fix pigments. These guys. If you're familiar with these, they can be used as eyeliner, for lips, for cheeks, eyeshadow. She even mentioned using these as mascara, which I was like, okay. But the whole reason behind this was she had the consumer in mind. Like, what can I give the consumer that gives them the most for their money? Having a product like this that can be used in multiple ways, you really get a lot for your money with these type of products. And if you thought, these could be a little bit difficult for the everyday consumer, that's one thing that I appreciate about Danessa in the nowadays, is that she still tries to teach as many people as she can her artistry. She's always trying to share her knowledge and teach people. I don't know if some of you have seen her Teach Me Tuesdays on Instagram. She will do a live session, and if she isn't available to be there for Teach Me Tuesdays, she always makes sure there is somebody there to take her place and to teach her followers on Instagram. And I think that is just so cool that she makes education so easily accessible to everybody. Knowing what she went through to learn what she did, she doesn't gatekeep. She wants to share. And you can really tell she's a beautiful person for that. She's wanting to lift everyone around her up and give everyone the opportunity to learn. She really does make her brand feel like more of a community than anything by having these resources available to people. And on top of that, she's always trying to learn and better herself. So she really built this brand from the ground up. From teaching herself how to do makeup on her own, to doing free work just to get her name out there, to teaching people, creating her own products. I have so much respect and admiration for her and her hard work. And if that doesn't encourage you and inspire you to step out of your comfort zone and try something, even though it's frightening at first, to know how scary it must have been to step into the unknown, to have the fear of failing, the financial instability, the risk of learning something new that you're not 100% sure if it will pan out for you. Like I said, I really feel the genuineness and the beauty in her as a person. Like, on top of being such a strong, motivated person, the amount of love and support she puts out there for her customers, she really does foster the sense of community within her brand. Like, so not just for people of color, but also for people of all walks of life, sexual orientation and all that. And I feel like it just happens so organically for her as a person, because that's just who she is at heart. From seeing herself not being represented in the beauty industry to seeing an example of how somebody that she identified with being presented as beautiful by these photographers and hairstylists in that magazine company that she worked with, seeing that little glimpse of representation, having that first-hand experience, and then creating the products to fill that gap that she saw when she actually started performing the artistry. Everything just happens so organically in her brand, and it really does feel like a labor of love from her to her community. Now, this might be really rambly and all over the place, but the whole thing I took away from this, because I am in a weird spot in life right now where I am unemployed. I had no plans of walking away from my job, but I had to because of circumstances, which I think I'm going to make a video about it a little after this. And instead of seeing it as a negative, I thought, well, I should see this as an opportunity. And I'm not sure what direction I will take, but what I did take from the motivation and the inspiration I was trying to look for by going through Danessa's story was it's never too late to restart and to learn something new. So I have no idea what direction it's going to take me in this time that I'm going to have to myself. This was one of the first palettes I picked up when I wanted to start playing with makeup, because I was never really allowed to play with makeup, and I bought this one in secret, and I kind of had it hidden. And I was like, one day I'm going to have the bravery to use it. And I still haven't really played a whole lot with it. I think I just dipped my fingers into it to swatch it, just to see what the colors looked like. I want to be braver. I want to be bolder. I want to lose any fears that I have holding me back from trying to learn new things. And I hope you too, if you are in a similar situation where maybe it's time to learn something new, or you've always had a passion for something. I think the main thing that inspired her from watching these hairstylists and makeup artists when she was at the publishing company was that she saw that these people got to work on their passion. She got to see them be excited and passionate every day about their work. And then she also saw the freedom that they had in making their schedules, working on the projects that they wanted to work on. You know, of course, I'm sure they would have had to do some projects like she did in the beginning, free of charge, just to get the name out there. It was the freedom to show up and express yourself the way you wanted to work in artistry. She did say in one interview that she always thought there was your serious job and then there was things you do creatively on the side. And she never knew that both things can converge in one. You can have that creativity with your job. So my main takeaway from this was that it's never too late to start something new, and don't let fear hold you back. So I know I'm not any good at this makeup stuff yet, but with practice and with the bravery to not have the fear, I know one day I'll get it to the point where my looks will be something to where I imagine them, or to where they're not so terribly bad. Being on here on YouTube is very scary for myself too, because I've never been one of those extroverted people. I've always been very shy and scared of putting myself out there. And I'm learning to lose that fear. Is this my best look I've done here? No. But it got me off of my butt, and it got me to stop sulking around the house and feeling like I had no options, and I didn't feel like there was hope for me to learn something new because of all the limitations. Like, there's no money to go back to school, there's not really much money to learn how to do something new. Just thinking of all the excuses and limitations to why I couldn't learn something new or take a completely different direction from what I used to do. And like I said, just diving into the inspiration of Danessa Myricks' career change, like starting completely over at 30 years old with a family to take care of and learning everything on your own and using the resources that you do have around you, whether that be people that are willing to give you an opportunity, to giving back from that little bit that you have established for yourself to bring up others along with you, and then becoming a successful brand owner and having a successful company at the age of 50. I couldn't think of a better example to inspire me and get that fire going underneath my butt. So I just kind of want to share the little bits that I had learned of Danessa Myricks as a person, her career trajectory. And it just kind of reignited a want to survive for myself, not give up on myself, and to fight through the fears and all that. So I just wanted to share that little bit of inspiration. Thank you for watching, if you did all the way through. Like I said, it's not my most favorite look that I've done here on the channel. I feel like I could have done Danessa Myricks better justice, but it got me out of my funk and back to making videos. So I hope to see you in another video. I hope to highlight more women and people that inspire me, specifically women, because I think women are so beautiful and so amazing. We do so much. We are usually the caregivers in our families and to the people around us, and you know, nowadays we work and provide for ourselves and our families, and we just really do it all. So I would love to do more of these videos where hopefully they're scripted a little better and structured a little better, where I can highlight and celebrate a woman that I look up to and in change inspire you too. So I hope to see you in another video here, and of course don't forget the videos that I am referencing down below. Like I said, there's one that I think could use a lot more love than it's getting. And like I said, it's a good watch, and it's a good reminder that we shouldn't limit ourselves to our resources and have our fears hold us back. Bye. I hope you take care, and I hope you show yourself some love and be patient and kind with yourself.